Okay, so yeah. So welcome back for our fourth day, and today we are just going to do a little bit of theory. And welcome everybody. Let me just go through the chat first of all. So just give me 1 second. I just need to open my chat here. No, it's for day 5, day 4. Yeah, and here is our project, like the final project. By the way, are you getting the final code that I'm sharing on the GitHub so that you can work with me now? So that is why. I think, yep, I am visible. I just need to put this here, this one here, and a little bit of this. Okay, great. So now we can start with our session. Okay, yeah, good evening, everybody, good evening. I think many of you are finding React little difficult, and it is little bit difficult, not that much, but it is because it's a little bit of advanced stuff, no? Okay. Are you able to hear me, see me, and my screen is visible to you? If everything is going good, so we can start our React project and we can start working on it. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to close it, and I'm just going to open the normal terminal here. And let's just start our project. I'm just starting our project so that we can continue our work. So where we left yesterday. Okay, I think I misspelled it. Yeah. Let it get open. It's gonna take little bit of time, 1 to 2 seconds. Sometimes in starting it takes little bit of time. Yeah, that's why I'm asking for the code. Keshav, I've shared the code on the GitHub. Yeah, Vaishnavi, I'm trying my best. Today we are going to get a go slow, and we are going to have the recap as well. So recap of everything, no? Everything. So till here we completed yesterday. So we have subtle effect here and this thing also. So this is our header. So we have our header here. So this is our header, this whole panel and the banner. And then we have our links here, which is obviously not working right now. So we have add as soon as darker. So in the original Netflix, you can see. So if I scroll a bit now, see it is getting darker. So we are going to add this effect today, and we are going to understand how promises works in React. So you're actually going to get the data from a server and through an API, and we are going to use that API to fill up our screen and all. You can use that for anything. Right now I'm using a fixed image here, but we are also going to make it dynamic. So you don't have to rely on this fixed image. Every time you will get load this page, you're going to get a newer image. So that is what we are going to do now today. So first thing first, let's just add that effect. No? So effect, and I'm just going to my navigation bar. Okay, so this that top bar, na? And I don't know why my VS Code is not showing me colors properly today. So maybe after update, it basically got broke, but it's gonna work fine. Only problem I'm going to face is we are not going to have all those colors here, so it's looking same everywhere. I think I can change the theme, so it's not able to detect this thing. Search for marketplace. Nope. I have to reinstall first of all this JavaScript with React. Even though I select this, it's not updating anything here. Even if I change the theme now, it's not doing anything. Maybe after update. So yesterday it got updated, and from yesterday I'm facing this problem, but that's not going to bother us a lot. We can basically work with it. Responding, I'm getting component problem. Yeah, we are going to resolve all the problems today. What is the error you're having with the npm? So let me just go through the chat first of all. Happy evening. Can you, yeah, share the code on the GitHub? Yeah, Anush, what is the problem you're getting with the component? Okay, Sita, what is the problem you're facing with your npm? npm, so we can resolve it. Just tell me the error. So if you don't tell me the error now, I won't be able to answer you. Okay. I get a lot of warning when I try to do React. Like what sort of warning you are getting? Are you talking about this sort of warning? You may get some warnings here and there. So what is the warning you are getting? And would you recommend? Yeah, personally, Aditya, I use Yarn. So for the development perspective, Yarn is better. But when you're going to deploy it, you basically have to use npm. Okay, so we can start with our code. So yesterday I told you about this use state. Remember what I told you about this use state? That whenever you want to create a very specific kind of variable, a variable, whenever it's going to change, it's going to update on the screen, and we call it rendering, no? Re-rendering. So our UI is going to re-render. So render means something is visible on your screen. So it's like graphic rendering, na? Graphic rendering. Similarly, in React also we do the render thing. And normal variables, if they change, our React is not going to re-render. That means it is not going to update that value on the screen because of some performance reasons. And also there are some many reasons behind the scene. So that is why React is going to, in React, we use special kind of variables and we call them states. So you have to use these state variables, and they are why they are special, because whenever they change, they're actually going to re-render your UI. Yeah. So I'm just going to create a state here, and the name of the state is going. How do we create a state? Just type use state. Just type use state like this, and I got my use state from here. I got my use state from here. Import use state, and also I imported use effect. We are also going to use it from React. Yep. And initial value. So what is the initial value? So right now no initial value, and the variable I'm just going to create here is show. Yep. And you just have to wrap it inside the arrow. This is square brackets. Type const here, and just put a equal sign. That's all. So why we do put these arrow square brackets? So it's actually user state is a function which actually returns an array, and the array is going to have two things. First one is the value, and second is the function. Don't worry if you don't know about this, because it's a little bit of advanced JavaScript. So for that you need to take our courses, because covering all these advanced topics is not at all possible in this session. And the second thing you can write here is set show. So what is this set show is? It is a function. So this set show is a function. You can name this anything and also this anything. So count, set count, it's a convention that we go with. So it's a variable and it's a function. Yep, that's great. Okay, and the initial value I'm just going to put here is false. And right now I'm just going to write all the code here, and later I will just explain you that what I'm doing. It's gonna be little tricky for you to see and understand for the first time, but anyways it's super easy. It's the only reason you are because your first time, that's why. Yeah. And I'm just going to use a use effect hook. So what is this use effect? Use effect is a very special kind of hook. And acha, first of all, let me just check it. Like if you're facing any problem related to, like any problem with the laggy voice or the laggy video, something like that. Nope, na? Okay. Inside this use effect, you can write any code, and that code is actually going to start. It's this code is going to run as soon as your UI renders. Okay, as soon before rendering of UI, if I write anything here, it's gonna run. So I'm just going to write a code here that is window.add event listener. So what actually I'm doing here, I'm setting up an event listener for scroll on the window. If you don't know about the event listeners, you can basically check out my previous video. But what is an event listener? So your user can perform so many events on your screen. Click, scroll, drag, drop. You can do so many things with your website now, with any web app. So you can basically listen for these events. So anything a user is going to do with our app is an event, and you can listen for this event. So what do you mean by listen? That hey, listen, if this event is going to happen, please execute this function, something like that. So it's like if it start raining, please come inside of the house. So something like that. I'm setting up an event listener, window dot add event listener. So I'm setting this event for or like throughout my window, and the event is a scroll. So I'm looking for the scroll value. As soon as user is going to scroll, I just want to execute this function. Okay, this function, I just want to execute this function. Yep. And I'm just going to check for the scroll value. So I can just get it here, event, and inside this is a function, and it is going to have the event value, window.scroll. So you can basically check for the amount user is scrolling. Let's see if we are getting this. By the way, one thing I also want to do is to return this. I'll just tell you what is this return is. I just want to remove this event listener from here. Okay, and if you want, you can pass the function as well. So I'm just going to pass a random function, and let's just open our UI. Where do we have our UI? This one. A quick refresh will do the trick. Inspect console, and look what is going to happen as soon as I will scroll a little bit. So as soon as I scroll, see, I'm getting the scroll value, that how much I have scrolled. So it's 0, like at the very top it's 0, and as soon as I scroll down, this value is getting increases. So till 76, you can see all the values here. So this is the event. I'm looking for that event, and inside this window.scroll, I'm getting the amount of scroll. And what I want to do here, if window.scroll y to be exact, you can have two values. Scroll y and scroll x. So this is the x scroll, and this one is the y scroll. So if the scroll value is greater than, let's say, 10, if the y scroll is greater than 10, make the value of this variable, this state, to true. Right now it's false. By default it was false. Now make it true, and else make it false. Na? Keep it false. That is what I wanted. And if you wanted, you can basically remove it, and you can basically create a new function, scroll handler. I'm just going to create a new function here, and I'm just going to paste it here. So on scroll, I just want to execute this function. As soon as the scroll starts, please execute this function, scroll handler. So I'm setting up an event listener for the scroll, and as soon as the scroll is going to happen, just execute this function. Yep. And I'm setting up an event listener. And what is this return I'm return? What is this here? It's nothing but I'm just removing the event listener as soon as you close this page, or like if you basically re-render it or something like that. Na? So you basically have to remove the listeners as well. So I'm just removing it. Window.remove event listener. The event listener I'm removing is for the scroll, and you just have to pass the function name. Okay, that's all. So this is just for removing. So anything that is use effect is going to return, it's going to get executed just before your UI is going to unrendered. Okay, as soon as your UI is going to get removed from your screen, just execute this function. And it's not that necessary to put it here, but just to keep the performance high. So it's not that important right now, but you can just write it like this. It is just for improving little bit of performance, because event listeners are little heavy. So you don't want these event listeners to be there without any reason. So that is why. And that's all. And now this show variable is going to have a true or a false value. And depending on that, I just want to change the background color of my navigation bar. So right now, my navigation bar is having the color of transparent, isn't it? So what I'm going to do, this nav now, just go over here and type style, and I'm just going to do it like background color. Remember I told you that this is the also one of the way to put a style with a component. So background color, if show is true, I just want to use the background color RGB 20,20. So this is a color value. It's not pitch black. I don't want pitch black there. Otherwise make it transparent. And if I save it, and now here, you don't need to have it inside of CSS. And that's all. Like this is all. So this was the difficult part for this session, one of the most difficult part. And now I can show it to you. So if I just do a little scroll, see, as soon as I scroll it, it is getting a black background. And as soon as I make the scroll value to 0, it is going to become transparent. See. So let me just give you a quick recap, like what we did from the beginning. So I created a very special kind of variable state show with the initial value of false by using use state hook. And this is how you write the use state. And this is our actual value, which is going to be true or false. And it is a function set so. So it is going to be used to update this variable. You cannot update this variable directly. So states cannot be updated directly. To update them, you have to use these special functions. So this set show is a function, and whatever parameter, whatever argument you're going to pass inside this function is going to become the new value for your state variable. If this is out of it, like it's state, then what I did, I used use effect to execute a piece of code as soon as my UI renders on my UI. And inside my use effect, I have just written, I have set up the event listener for the scroll. So I'm setting up a window.add event listener. Event is a scroll, and as soon as a scroll happens, please execute this function. And let's just understand what is this function. So inside this function, I'm checking for the value of scroll, that how much the scroll is. So if window.scroll by is greater than 10, make the value of show to true. Otherwise, keep it false. And that's all. So as soon as I scroll a little bit now, so this show becomes true. And as soon as I take the scroll to back to 0, it becomes false. And by using this show variable, I am basically conditionally, so condition depending on a condition. So if this value is true, make the background color black, and if this value is false, make the background transparent. It's like a if else statement in a single line. So condition here, question mark, if the condition is true, execute this code. Otherwise, after semicolon, otherwise execute this condition. So it's like if and else in a single line. Yeah. Set show is a function. Leon, set show is a function, and we call it like setter function, or whatever you want to call it. So whatever value, if you call this function set show, and if you pass any variable, any value inside of it, it's going to become the new value for the show. So if I pass here, let's say Sanjay, so this show is going to become Sanjay. So it actually just, the purpose of this set show is to update this state variable. That's all. Okay. And how it works, what the behind the scene, it's not Leon, no, use effect is used for a lot of purposes. Again, I'm going to use effect one more time, and then you will understand what is the purpose of this use effect. By the way, congratulations, we now have this effect here, this one. Now let's just create the third part, the content part. So I have already created this component here. So this is the component for our third part, like this one. So this is the content. We are going to have all the movies, arrows, and everything here. And to get the movies, so import CSS. So I'm importing my CSS from here. So right now content component does not have any styling right now. It's almost blank here. And here I have my component content.jsx, and I'm using this content component here in my app.css. I'm using it here. See, I'm using it here in my app.js, because at the end you have to put all the components inside the app. Only the things which you have inside the app is going to be visible. Nothing else is going to be visible on the screen. So that is why you have to put everything here. Okay, now let's just get the data from a third-party API. To get the data from a third-party API, we are going to use one of the most popular API for the movies, and the name of the API is TMDB. Okay, so just Google TMDB. Just type it, TMDB, any you want to call it, you can call it. So the movie database, the full form of TMDB is the movie database. Just click here on the get started TMDB. Just click here, no? Just look for TMDB. Just Google TMDB. Click on the first link, this one. And one thing that you have to do is to sign in here. You have to join here. It's free of cost, so you can basically. So So I am already logged in. So I have to log out. It's very simple. You just have to sign in. I think I should not log out now. So you just sign up and this will be the panel that you are going to see. Yeah. And inside this, go inside the settings. Okay, just sign in here, na? TMDB. Just go here and you have to click here on your profile, go for the settings and go here like in the API. So in this screen, you will see this API. Click here and you will see this one, your API key. So this is your API key. You have to copy this and basically you have to keep this key very safe. Right now I'm just using it for demo purposes. After that I'm just going to delete it. So just log in here on the TMDB and click here on your profile picture. Click on the settings and you will see this screen. Here you have to click on this API and here you are going to get API key. Just copy this API key and keep it safe somewhere. Okay, just keep it safe somewhere. So like I'm just going to so right now I'm just going to put it here. Okay, that's great. So this is our API key. You have to keep it safe. Right now we are not looking for that. Yep. Now what we actually need to do, we need to get the data. We need to get the data from the server. So how we can get the data from the server? For that we are going to use something called fetch and the promises. So let me just show it to you first of all. So I'm just going to create a function here. Let's just install one thing first. So get the data from a server. I'm just going to install one thing, and that is, let me just close this first of all. So I'm just going to install a package. Going to install a package called Axios. So basically you can go with the fetch as well, but this is one of the better way to get the data from any API. So just type here npm I Axios. Okay, npm I Axios. Inside your terminal, open your terminal by using your VS Code so that you can make sure that you are opening your terminal in the same folder and type npm I Axios. What is this Axios? Axios is just a what is this? Axios is nothing but it is just a tool to get the data from any API. Just press enter and it's going to install Axios for you. Like we have so many third-party packages and tools like this, which makes our life easier. Whenever you're going to create a project now, so you're going to use a lot of these tools. We have Axios, then we have GSAP for animation, for styling, we have Sans, Tailwind, and styling component. Like the library is very huge. And to learn all of it, you basically have to join our course because it's not at all possible to cover everything here. Okay, that's great. Now I'm just going to start my project. So after installing it, you can start a project. And I'm using my custom CMD to start the project just to keep the performance better. You can start a project by using that terminal, but I'm using this one just to save a little bit of performance here. Okay. Now I can go over here and you can do import Axios, import Axios from Axios. Now you can start using this Axios. Now, yeah, you could have installed the React Axios, but Axios is same as React Axios, so you can just go with this one. Nope, you can just log in there. They are going to ask you some questions that what is your name, are you a developer? So just fill up any details and you can get the detail. Yeah, it uses not exactly. It uses the custom code to get the data, like XSR requests and all internally. Yeah, we can use a server-side rendered component, but the problem is like it's a very basic course now. We cannot use the server-side rendered components here. Okay, I think it's live here. Okay, that's great. I can close it. TMDB is not opening, Rajneesh. So what is the error you're getting? Just you can type the movie database, something like that, and you will get this thing. So just Google the movie database and press enter, and you will get this first link, the movie database, and you can sign in there. Okay. Okay, if now I can now start using this Axios. So all you have to type, I'm just going to create a function here like this get data. Okay, get data, or like let me rename it to get movies. So I'm going to create a function here get movies, and inside this what I'm going to do, I'm just going to type here Axios axios.get. Inside this you basically have to pass the different addresses of the of getting the movie, and I'm just going to share you all the address, so you don't have to do this by yourself. So let me just write all the addresses here. So I think I already have them here. Okay, so this is the base address like this. So axios.get, or you can basically type axios now, just type axios, or like axios.get. Inside this function I'm using axios now. Axios.get is slash, so this is the address of the movie database. You have to use it here, you basically have to use it here. Then you can have some urls. So the url, suppose if you just wanted the movies, so just type here slash movies slash movie and top rated, and that's all. Okay, and that's all. So axios.get, and you have to type this address. So I'm just going to share all the addresses with you, so don't worry about that. And next thing, I just want to pass some prompts. So let me just show it to you first of all, then I'm just going to share you all the details. So here I just have to put the API key. So I'm just going to write my API key here. So that is why I told you that this API key is very important, and like this. So let me just show you how it's going to look like. Data, or I can just put a response. P-O-N-C-E, I think response. And I'm just going to do a console.log for response.data. Response, and save it. I'm just going to stop the video for a minute because it's taking a lot of performance. Okay, and I'm just going to close it for a while. Yeah, so this is the get movie function, and I'm just going to execute this function as soon as my components loads on my screen. So I'm just going to type here get the use effect from react and here I'm just going to type, and inside this use effect I am just going to call this function get movies. Okay, because I just want to get the movies as soon as this components renders on your screen. So let me just remove all the unnecessary spaces. So let me just select everything, and let me just format the document. Why it's not getting formatted? Format the document with prettier. Okay, now it is got formatted. Yeah, I can save it, and if I can show it to you that so don't worry, I'll just tell you what has happened. WebSocket connections fails, no issues, and all I need to do a quick refresh. So close this and a refresh here. Inspect elements, console, and see I'm just getting a promise here. So let's just understand the promise and Axios in little bit more depth. So what happened here actually? So as soon as my components load, this content component loads on the screen, as soon as this component loads on the screen, I just want to execute this function use effect, and inside this I am writing this function get movies. So as soon as our component loads, this function is going to get executed. Inside this function I have written axios.get, and here is the address for my API. Here's the address for my API, and in the second parameter I'm passing my API key. So this is very, very important. You have to pass your API key here. So this is my API key. Yep. Okay. And by the way, so this axios.get is going to get the data. So this is our UI now. It is our UI. It is going to send a request to the IMDb, like TMDB, that please bro, give me the movies. Give me the movies. And this TMDB is going to send me a response with all the movies. So it's just going to send me a response. And this Axios is going to give me a promise that it's going to give me some response sometimes afterwards, because this thing may take like undefined amount of time now, that because it depends on the internet speed as well, like what is your internet speed, how fast your connection is, how fast your machine is, etc, etc. So you're not going to get the data directly, you are actually going to get a promise. You are going to get a promise that I will get the data for you. And to resolve the promise, you just have to type await here. Okay, you just have to type await here. So I'm just going to type await, await, await here. Now I am actually going to get the data. But to use await, you have to make your function async. So just type async. So to write await here, you also have to write async here. So when you declare your function now, when you declare your function, you just have to put async here. You just have to put async here, so that I can use await. And now that was the final step. And now you're going to get your data. So let's do a refresh here. And see, you're going to get the data of 30 plus movies. So see, I'm getting a data of 20 movies right now. Every movie is going to have a name, an overview, image, title, a video falls, voting average, etc, etc. So you're getting a lot of thing here. You are going to get a lot of things from here. So this is how you make a network request. So we are just making a network request here. Yeah. And now I am just all we need to do is to create a state, and inside this state I'm just going to use all the values. So I'm just going to create a state here, const movies, movies, comma, set movies, and initially it will be a blank array. And here all we have to do is to do set movies. Inside this response is the object now. Inside this response I have a data and the result. So here we have our actual movies, and I can show it to you as well that we are getting our movies here. Console.log movies, and if you'll save it, you are actually going to see that we are having a movies here. We will use the database also. We are actually using the third-party API, the TMDB here, and you can use it to get all the movies. So refresh and see, I'm getting all the movies here. Yeah. So right now you're just getting all the popular movies. So in the so you're not going to have a single row first of all. So in the original project, see, I'm having multiple rows here. So for each and every row, you're actually going to have different you're going to have different URLs. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to create a folder here inside this with the name of constants. Yep. Inside this constants, I'm just going to create one more thing, that is our urls.js. Inside this, I'm just going to write all the URLs. I'm just going to write all these addresses here. So let me just copy paste all these addresses so that you can use them as well. Okay. Yep. So these are the URLs we have here. So these are the URLs for to get the trending movies, to get the originals, top rated, action, comedy, horror, romance, documentaries, etc, etc. And I'm just going to use this to create a thing called raw data, and it's gonna be a array of the objects, and inside this object I'm going to have a title trending. The URL for the title trending is this urls dot trending. I'm just going to create an array of objects. Inside this I'm going to have the title and the URLs. By the way, you can directly write this. So let's just directly write this. That's not necessary to put like this here. Okay. So let me just format the document. I don't know what happened with my VS Code. Yeah. So another one for originals, I'm just going to write this is the title originals and this is the address for the originals. Title top rated and this is the address for the top rated. And I'm just going to do this one more time. Action for the action, and let's have a comedy and this one for the comedy, and I think horror. Let's just add two more. No? Let's just add two more or one more. Romance. Okay, I think that's more than enough. Format, and format is prettier. And I'm just going to remove it from here. And let's just export this raw data. Export default raw data. So I'm just going to export it from here. So you don't have to write this again and again. So you don't have to write this again and again. And I'm just going to import it here. So let's just remove this all the code from here. We don't want this code here. I am just going to import the data, raw data. So data for each row, raw data from the constants, not contents. One more level up, constants and URL. So from here, I'm getting my raw data, and let's just create some more components. So I'm going to create two more components, a row and a card. So I'm just going to create two more components here. So let's just create the component row. So inside the component, let's just create a component row here. And inside the row, I'm just going to create a file row.js. So because we are going to have multiple rows now, and let's create row.css as well, row.css. Okay, that's great. And let me just create a component rfc row, and inside this I just need to import its css, which is just behind it, row.css. Yeah, that's all. And I'm just going to create one more component that we are later going to use. That is one is card. Card is already exists. Card already exists. Yeah, this one. So inside the card, I'm just going to create card.js and a slice css for the card.css. So inside the card, I'm just going to create a component. Okay, so this one is a filein component. After this, we don't have to create many more components. So that's gonna be more than enough. Okay, so why I created this row? Because we are going to have multiple rows now. We are going to have multiple rows. So, and this is the data for each row. So inside this constant, I have created, like, you are going to have 1 2 3, like title and the URL, title and the URL, and so on and so forth. So we are going to use it. So what you have to do, what you have to do inside this content, I am just going to use this, and I'm just going to loop over this array. I'm just going to loop over this array by using map here. And let's just import the row. Import row from row. So this is our row component, isn't it? So I'm just going to execute a loop over here, and every time the element, I hope you are comfortable with this map loop. So what this map is, so I'm actually looping over this row data dot map, and it's our element every now. So you can loop over an array. So on each and every loop, you're actually going to get each and every object. So let me just show it to you. So let's close this. So for this loop, for the first loop, you're going to get this inside the EL value. For the second loop, you are going to have this in the EL. For the third loop, you're going to have inside this EL. What is this EL? EL is just a variable here. So this EL. Inside this EL, you're going to have that objects on every loop. And I'm calling my row component with these two props, the title and the URL. The title and the URL, and the title is going to be el.title, URL is going to be el.url. So el.title and the el.url. That's it. So that is all about your component now. That's all about. Like, you don't have to do anything here now. You don't have to do anything here now. I can just format this document with my prettier. Okay, that's all. Okay, that is all. If you see here, so if I open this now, I'm just going to get, so I think 20. See, I'm getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 rows. Why I'm getting 7 rows? Because I'm repeating this thing 7 times. Because this thing has 7 components, 7 objects. So I'm returning this 7 times. That is why I'm having the 7 rows there. And now all we have to do is to write our code here in the row. In the row, I'm just going to import the card first of all. So import the card. By the way, we have almost completed our UI. So import the card here. Okay. And next thing, I just want to import here from here use effect and use state. Use state and the use effect. So this is the two things we have to import, and also import Axios. Axios from Axios. Yep. And in the Axios, you can do one thing. In the Axios, remember, for each and every Axios, you basically have to pass an address. That address was, what was that address? The address was like TMDB, something like that. No? So this was our address. So this was the address /movies or something like that. So for all the addresses, this part is going to be same. This part is going to be same. Only the last part is going to change, like trending, horror, comedy, like this. So what you can do inside our Axios, just to save time, just inside your app.css, import it, import Axios from Axios, and you can set a base address. So you just have to type this axios.defaults.base URL. Okay, the base URL. So this is going to be our base URL, because you are going to write this every time, and set up your API key as well, because every time you have to pass the API key. So I'm just going to set up my param here like this, a params API key, and this is my API key. So I'm just going to write this API key here. That's all. So you can just write this inside your app.js, just to save time some time. So you don't have to do this again and again. Now you don't have to write this again and again. Just write this one time inside the app.css. We are just setting up a base URL and some default keys. So you don't have to pass this one more time. Yep. And now let's just go inside the row. And here I'm just going to write a function to get the data from the API. And the function is going to be simple, like const. First of all, let's just create a movies state. Okay, let's just create a function here, fetch movies. Okay, everything is same, we already did this. And just call this function inside the use state, a use effect. So as soon as my component loads, just call this function here. So like literally we this right now. So let me just show it to you what we have done here. So I created a state. Initially that state is going to be blank array. I'm creating a function fetch movies. Inside this I'm typing axios.get, and I'm just typing the URL. So from where you will get the URL? From here, props. Okay, so it is going to be props.url. So you don't have to type this like this. You can type props.url. So every time inside the URL, you are going to get your URL like from here, props.url, and the base address is like set. So it is going to be there every time. So you don't have to write this again and again. And that's all. So this is what we have to do. And then we are setting up the movies. Now the last part is to basically loop over this movies and show the cards again and again. So I'm just showing up the cards again and again. That's all. I'm just going to give some classes to everything. So let's just give it a class to this one. Format the document. Let me just set up the document formatter app for every time. Okay, so as soon as I save it. So this is going to be our row. I'm just going to have a h3 here. Inside the h3, all I'm going to write here is the title, props.title. So inside the props, I was getting my title here, props.title, and save it. And let me just give it a class name as well, class as row title. Yep. Then I'm going to have another division div. Inside this div, I'm just going to loop over through my array, through my movies, and let me just give it a class of row cards. So I'm just giving some random class names to each and everything so that we can target it later inside our CSS. So inside our row.css, let's just target it. First of all, let's just target the row wrapper. So this is our row wrapper, and I just want to make it, let's say, color of white here, not black. I just want to make it white. Then little bit of margin bottom, so we can have little bit of spacing. I'm just going to give it a z index of 3, z index of 3. So like not right now, it's not going to be used right now. And let's have a margin left as well, margin left of 5 vw. And let's just grab the row title as well, row title, title. For the row title, let's just give it some default font weight and all. So I'm just going to write this value here. So these are the font values, and let me just give it a z index of 3 again. And now the row card here, and I just want to make a display of flex, and that is all. I think that's more than enough. Just align item center, and that is more than enough for now. Let's just give it a height as well. Height of 130 pixel is more than enough. I already used it one last time. And a color of white one more time. Okay, I think that's more than enough. So our rows are created, and if you see here, let's see if we are getting something. So if I refresh it, okay, we are not seeing anything because our card component is literally blank. Our card component is literally blank. That is why we are not seeing anything. So inside this card, you are going actually going to get your data as a prop. So here inside the prop, you are going to get all the data. Inside the prop, you are going to get all the data. So like the title of the movie and so on and so forth. So let's just do now. So let me just see how it's going to look like in the original. So this is how it is looking for the originals. So I'll just create a simple division for now. Okay, inside this I'm just going to use an image tag. Inside this I'm just going to use an image tag. So we are going to add the movies, the playable movies tomorrow. Right now I'm just going to show you how to show the movies. And props dot, what is the image URL? Where's the poster path? It's the poster path actually. Okay, background poster path are both the same thing. Poster. Inside the poster we are actually going to have our photo. And let's just give it a class as well, so that we can target it to style it. So what is the class? We can give it any class for now. I am just going to give it a class of, let's say, class name and card image or card poster, and save it. That's all. I'm just going to format my document with my prettier, and let's have a alt as well, poster, and save it. Let's just get inside our CSS. Inside my CSS, all we have to need is to grab our image. So card poster, and let's just give it little bit of height, at height of 130 pixels, border radius of 5 pixels, and object fit of contain. Okay, now I think it should work. Let's see if we are getting anything. Let me just close this. We don't need this anymore. Okay, now let me just save it here and a quick refresh, and let's see. Okay, so you are getting the things here, but the photos are blank. So let's see what is the problem. Let's just go over here, el.backdrop. So let me just console.log this el. Let's see what we have inside the object. First of all, the title and this, and let's just give it a css background of, we have to give this content.css background color of RGB 20 20 20 20 20 and 20, and save it. Okay, and let's see what we are getting. Backdrop path, it's actually the backdrop path, and this, okay. I think these two are same. Poster path and background path are same almost. So the problem is actually in the background path, you have to add an initial thing. So just give me 1 second. The image URL. Let me just look for the image URL. Yep. So the thing is, na, for the background path, you basically have to add a thing here. So let me just create a background path. So image URL is going to equal to this thing. So this is the base address, and here we have to add the poster. So I'm not going to use this thing. I'll just explain you this. So in our data, na, you're just going to get the ID of the image. ID of the image. You're just going to get the ID of the image. So this is actually the original path is slash the ID of the image. So this is your complete image URL. So now I am passing this thing here. So that is why previously we were not getting the photo, the path, and something like that. So now we are going to get it. And a quick refresh. Again the problem, let me just log it out now. Console.log image URL. Let's see what we are having here. Quick refresh, and these are the paths we are getting. Let's see if we are getting our image or not. Yep, we are getting our image. So why it's not showing here? So let's see if we have any problem. So this is a perfect valid path. No? There is no problem. SRC, not SCR. So there was a spelling mistake. Okay, so now we are getting our all the photos and all. See, now I'm getting all my photos. It's going to take little time to get load, and I also have to remove this scroll bar. See, I am having a scroll bar here. So first of all, I want to remove this one. I don't want to get this scroll bar, so it's getting overflowed. So let's just fix this first of all. It's a very simple fix. Just go inside your row, and I think this is the card wrapper. All I'm going to do overflow x of scroll. So now it is going to be scrollable. A quick refresh. Now it is not going to now it is scrollable, and I want to remove this scroll bar. That's very simple to remove the scroll bar. All you have to type is webkit. So it's a CSS property by which you can basically remove your scroll bar. So let's just remove the scroll bar here for the row card. So target the row card. Yep, webkit scroll bar disable none. So now you're not going to see the scroll bar because that scroll bar was so ugly. So now I'm going to remove it. Okay, so now we don't have any scroll bar here. Now we are not having any scroll bar here, and this is how it's looking like. Let's have a little bit of margin right as well, because they are not having any of the space. So why don't we just go inside the card.css, and let's just have a margin of right 10 pixels, and see, a quick refresh. Okay, so now there is little bit of a spacing. 10 pixels is I think more than enough. And I just want to make it little bit of upward. So I'm just going to give it a margin top, margin top. So where we have it. So inside this container, content.css, where's content.css? So this one. I'm just going to give it margin top of minus 5VW or 5VH, I think. That's more than enough. So it's gonna be like here. Little bit here, and see, that is why I was giving it little bit of what, z index, because now this thing is behind of this. So I'm just going to first of all, let's just make it position absolute, so the problem will be solved automatically. And z index, so like that's more than enough. So now it's little bit on the top. I think we have to make it little bit more upwards. That's not good enough, so let's just make it little bit more up. 6, I think. And let's just remove this one, and also I can remove this color. I'm just going to put this color for whole body, because this is the default color. So I can put this color in the whole body. So index.css, inside this index.css you can basically define some global property. So this is the global color for the background, so I'm just going to use it here. Okay, so now it's working. And now let's have a quick recap. So we have already done all the stuff. Now we can have the quick recap. Now I'm just going to share Yeah, Josh, I know, but don't worry. Like we have almost we have completed it. Almost it is done. So this was the last step. This was the last step. Now I'm just going to share you the code, and also let me just start the video so that I can give you the quick recap and all. And you can basically follow along from tomorrow, because tomorrow we are not going to add anything. Tomorrow we are going to have a complete recap, so that everybody can catch up, everybody can understand and row in the card part. So don't worry about it. So by tomorrow we are going to have all the recap. There are little more, there are some pieces which are still left here. So I think that's more than enough, no? Otherwise it's going to be super difficult. Okay, just give me 1 second. I just have to start my video. Just give me 1 second. Mm, 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 mm. Okay, so here we are. Yep. So what is the assignment? Assignment is just to create a counter app. So let's just understand what we did here. So what I did, first of all, let me just close everything so we can basically understand each and every part. First of all, let me just commit it, and I already shared the GitHub code with you, so you can just pull it. So if you look closely, so inside this content.js, so this was our last part, the content.js. It was our last part. So if you see everything side by side, so you can see that. So this is our content. So this last part is our actually our content. So what I did here, simply I just created some default row data, na? Because content in this was our content. So in a content we had multiple rows, every row with different data, every row with different data. So what I did, like simply I created a array of objects, and inside this array of objects, every object contained the title of a row and a URL for the row, title and the URL. And here inside my content component, like this huge content component, I just repeated the row component. So this is our row component, so it is a row component, and this is our content. So inside this content component, I just repeated this row component again and again by using a loop, that dot map loop, na array dot map. By using it, I basically repeated this row again and again, and every time I passed the title and the URL as a prop. I just passed the title and the URL to each and every row. And let's just understand, we had the row.js. So inside the row.js, depending on, so inside this prop, you're going to get the title and the URL. Okay, so depending on the URL and the title, so by using the URL, I'm fetching the movie. So this piece of code is just to get the data from the server. Exuse.get, inside the get, I'm just passing the URL here. And after getting the movies, so inside the row, this is our title. So this title I got from the props, and I'm just repeating again a card component. So this is our row, na? It's our row. So inside the row, I'm putting a title here. So title, and I got this title from the props. From the props, I just got this title. And here I'm just repeating the card component again and again, card component again and again, depending on the data that we got, a data from our URL. So I'm repeating the card component, and that's it. Inside the card, I'm having a title and a poster. So card component is very simple. In the card component, nothing is there. Literally just an image. In the card, I just have an image, and I'm getting this image from the URL. That's all. Okay. Content to, okay. So why you rename content to content.jsx? Where? Oh, sorry. So if you create a React component, we basically use JSX, but JSX is completely fine. So you can basically rename it to JSX. JSX means it's basically Java for the React. So that's a complete different story. By the way, that's it. And if you see here, so there are a lot of things that I couldn't compare, like cover in this course, like promises. Yep. And little bit of user state and user effect. We have so many hooks like this. So like in the 5 days of session, it is not possible to cover everything. And if you learn, if you just want to completely learn each and everything with hands-on projects, so you can visit our website there. And in the website, we don't have any time constant there. First of all, I will be with you like literally for complete day, and we are going to create multiple projects. Every line of code we are going to understand in very depth, so you will understand the react in the very great detail. So like the story in our full stack course is completely different. The duration of the course is for the 6 months. We will prepare you for the interview, will prepare you with all the tech stack: react, node.js, javascript, mongodb, express, socket.io, everything. So I personally take the web development course, and we have a team of trainers who are actually not just trainers, who are actually a developer, who are working for some companies. And we also have data science course. So here also we create 17 plus real world projects. So you will be prepared for the to tackle the industry, and we are going to give you chance to get a job, like interview with our partner companies. So we have partner companies. You are going to get placed there, and we are starting our new batches from 19th of November. So it's a very great time to join it. And if you're planning to purchase our course, don't forget to use my coupon code SK10 to get 10% off. Yeah. In our courses, this project is actually our first or second project. So like in the beginning, we teach this. After this, the level basically continuously increases. Okay, Redux, yeah, everything. Redux, like you can type script, Tailwind, everything that you can. It's not like a normal course. You're actually going to understand each and everything. So, like when I say na everything, it's literally everything. You don't have to basically wander anywhere else to learn anything new. You can basically become a trainer by yourself after that. You can literally take this session in the place of me. So whatever you have in the web development, you're going to learn that everything from the scratch to a professional advance. Yeah, because it's a proper course now. It's a proper course. I am from Greece. How much in euros? Leon, you can just go over here in the one link. So you will get this one link here, and you can, if you don't know how to get enrolled, here inside this one link, you will get by the way, you can fill up the form, and we will automatically contact you. Otherwise, you can click here to talk with us. Or anyways, you can just go here in the program, and you can enroll in our course, fill up the form, fill up this form, and we will contact you from our side. Yeah. So we are going to keep everything simple for you. So once you are with us, we are going to take care of everything from your joining to get from your connecting with us to getting placed. Yeah, I hope I'll see you tomorrow and in also the sessions. And that's it for today. And tomorrow we are going to have a recap of all of our project, complete project, and we are going to understand each and everything from like again. So if you're having any doubt, and also we will add some more functionality to our project, like video effect. I'll just tell you now how to add that video effect and all. So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye and take care.